Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 30th of August. It is Saturday. We do have a 4-game afternoon slate and a 9-game main slate this evening. We do not have any weather issues to worry about. Winds blowing out in Sacramento, Colorado, slightly in Kansas City, LA, and in Chicago, which is interesting since the Yankees are there and they are used to hitting the ball to right field. But in the 60s, obviously the cool down temperatures have been pointing it out for a week or so. Definitely a boost to some pitching to a degree. In the 60s in San Francisco, going to make that ballpark really tough to hit in. I get it. They just put up a bunch of runs last night, but still, playing the environment as it is. This is a first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where the majority of my action is. If you do play in FanDuel, I'll cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now with all that said and done, let's just jump into the matchups. Milwaukee, Toronto, Gausman, Priester, Peralta and Bieber were really strong yesterday. It's not going to convince me to go to Gausman and Priester in this one. Priester was pushed back due to a wrist, I believe it was. So it's not really exciting to have your pitcher deal with a wrist thing. So maybe I have some interest in some Toronto stacks. Gonna have some interest in some Milwaukee stacks just because Gausman can get lit up a bit, and obviously we know Milwaukee can score some runs. Tampa Bay, Washington. Jake Irvin's just not somebody I'm going to get to. He's been brutal for the last month. Basically negative points over his last 5 starts total. Other side, Pepio, definitely somebody I'm playing. Plenty of upside. His K numbers are kind of all over the place right now. Coming off of a strong start. Definitely somebody I want to use. He's been better at home, which is kind of shocking. But still, his home runs allowed plummet on the road, which is nice to see. Pretty decent matchup against Washington. So Pepio, definitely somebody I'm playing on the slate. Dustin May, definitely going to be played by me just because it is a 4-game slate. Last 2 starts after his phenomenal one haven't been great. 4 home runs allowed, 3 of them last start. It was the Yankees, so it is what it is. Much nicer matchup here against Pittsburgh, even though Pittsburgh can show up once in a while. I do think Dustin May is in play. Oviedo on the other side. Not really sure what to do here. His last start he only went 53 pitches, was pretty solid. And that was after going 75 pitches the one before that. So 2 strong ones in a row. Against 2 teams that don't really strike out, etc. So I think Boston is a decent matchup for him. I just don't know what to expect from an innings perspective. Like, he may be capped at 5 innings. I'm not really sure what their plans are. But given that it's a 4-game slate, I think Oviedo is somebody that can sneak into an SB2 number when it's all said and done. Last game on the slate, David Peterson. Tons of upside. Obviously, 2 starts ago, 37 fantasy points. 27 against Miami the first time he faced them. We know that Miami doesn't strike out a whole lot against right-handed pitching. I don't know their numbers off the top of my head against left-handed pitching. But his history against them pretty strong. His numbers at home are even stronger than on the road. Definitely screams my second favorite pitcher on the slate behind Pepio. The other side, Edgar Cabrera, coming off of a 37 fantasy point performance. That was after 2 horrible starts, which were preceded by a 40 and a 28. Shocking, the 37 and 40 both came against Atlanta with double-digit strikeouts. It's a volatile matchup, and he hasn't been as strong on the road. But I do think he has the upside on a 4-game slate that we want to sprinkle him in. The Mets just poured it on last night. Maybe there's a little hangover there, and Cabrera gets it done. He's just too talented to not be in our pool, especially when we have limited options. Jumping over to the main slate this evening. Schlittler, definitely somebody I'm using. 29 fantasy points in back-to-back starts. He's not allowed to run. 2 runs or fewer allowed in 6 of his 8 starts so far. Really strong. Like his ability and his upside. We know the White Sox generally aren't ones that roll over and allow our pitchers to rack up points, but still, I like Schlittler a lot. Shane Smith coming off of a strong start. For much of the second half, been pretty bad, but 3 out of his last 4 starts have been solid. I am just not using him against the Yankees, even though he's been at his best when at home. Angels Houston. Houston let us down last night. Doesn't mean I'm going to Kyle Hendricks. Sorry. 2 starts against Houston this year. He's not been good. I will be going back to the Houston Bats. Arrighetti on the other side. Plenty of K upside in the matchup, but he was super chalky in the spot against Baltimore, and I didn't understand it. Not sure I'm going to get there tonight, but if there is a matchup for him to show up, it's at home against this Angels squad. I want to dig in a little bit more just to get an idea, but he is somebody that I'm actually going to consider on this slate. 97 pitches last time out. Makes me feel pretty good. He just didn't rack up any strikeouts ultimately, but can have a home run issue, can have a walk issue. It's not the most ideal against the Angels, who have a ton of power, but they do have a ton of strikeouts. San Diego, Minnesota, not going to Taj Bradley after his atrocious debut with the Twins. Back-to-back just horrendous starts at the major league level for him, and he was struggling in AAA as well. Nick Pivetta on the other side, I am going to go there, even though he hasn't been as strong on the road. His K numbers kind of take a hit, but Minnesota just can strike out. They do have a lot of power against right-handed pitching, but there are outs in the lineup, and Pivetta is just a strong option. 2 earned runs or fewer allowed in all but 1 start since June 20th. So just a super strong stretch for Nick Pivetta. Just makes a ton of sense. Seattle, Cleveland, Gavin Williams. One of those guys that can just show up and dominate, or he can just struggle with walks and allow a couple home runs and be out in the 4th inning. I like Gavin Williams. Huge reverse splits guy. Now, that's going to be difficult, when you're facing a Rosarina, Julio Rodriguez at the top of the lineup. 2 guys that can destroy right-handed pitching in that scenario. I think I'm going to have to use him just because, Seattle offers a ton of K upside. He did struggle against them the first time. Walks were the biggest issue, just no strikeouts. That's a worry. His strikes have kind of trended down over the last month. That's a worry. There's some things that are definitely worrisome, like I mentioned, but I do think there's some upside. He's kind of be on the borderline of a last man in based on recent trends. Logan Gilbert coming off an elite performance, 13 strikeouts. He struck out 10 against Milwaukee, of all teams, a month ago. He's been pretty rough on the road, and that is frustrating. 9 home runs allowed in 39 innings. That's a gross number. But strikeouts are still decently strong. I'm going to utilize him against the Guardians in this spot. I don't have a whole lot of worries with him in that matchup. Trevor Rogers pitching in San Francisco. I love it. San Francisco against left-handed pitching. Decently weak. He's allowed over 2 earned runs just once this season. That's in 13 starts. 1 run or fewer in 6 straight. And 8 of 9. Just been absolutely phenomenal. Ridiculous that he just wasn't part of the team's plans initially. Just didn't make any sense, but he's just been dominant, so I'm going to Trevor Rogers. I'm going back to pitching in San Francisco. I don't care if it burns me, but I just doubt that it's going to. The Giants probably going with a little bit more of a bullpen game if Carson Seymour really is pitching. He did just pitch 2 days ago, or the 27th, so 3 days ago. Only 16 pitches, but still. Might be somebody in the 50 to 60 pitch range. So if he's at 50 pitches, we just can't use him. Going to want to pay attention to news and updates here. He was named the starting pitcher, but obviously that could change. So he just can't go to a San Francisco pitcher on the slate. Detroit, Kansas City. Kolek getting his first start with Kansas City since being traded. Gonna pass, even though he does get a K boost in this matchup against Detroit. I'm just not all that interested in him. I'll look at his minor league numbers, and maybe that'll change, but I doubt it. Probably just going to play a wait and see with him, see how he performs with Kansas City. Flaherty on the other side, coming off of a rough performance against the same Kansas City squad. Prior to that, he absolutely dominated Houston, so he's just been all over the place. Probably not the best of matchups for him, so I am going to pass because he's been so bad on the road. But I will be kind of paying attention to it just because he is one of those pitchers that does have plenty of upside when things go right. Cubs, Rockies. McKay Brown, not somebody I'm interested in at all. Pittsburgh got to him in Pittsburgh. Now we're in Coors. Javier Assad, somebody that does have talent. He was pretty strong against the Angels last time. But with that said, this is Coors. I'm just not interested in using, a 4A arm. He's been up and down from the minors, kind of like 5th, 6th starter this year for the Cubs since being returning. I'm just not going to rely on somebody like that to find it in Coors. Arizona and the Dodgers. Eduardo Rodriguez, super volatile, but we know when things click for him, he can pick up fantasy points quickly. Now, the Dodgers lit him up the first time he faced them. Dodgers did struggle last night against Zach Gallen, but his road numbers have been atrocious. Ks are super strong, but everything else just leads to runs. I'm just going to pass on Rodriguez. Glasnow on the other side. His home numbers far superior to his road numbers. Obviously smaller sample size, but still. Great spot at home. Hasn't been the best recently, but his recent starts have been 2 against San Diego, 1 against Toronto. Teams that don't really strike out all that much. He did pick up 8 strikeouts in 2 out of those 3. So strikeouts can be there. He's one of those guys that I do think are somewhat matchup proof. Really, it's just up to him and how sharp he is. Because when he's on, he can strike anybody out and rack them up quickly. Last game of the night, Merrill Kelly. I am interested in Merrill Kelly. Don't love the ballpark, but the A's probably without Nick Kurtz after he left last night's game. Weakens their lineup quite a bit. He's coming off of a 32 fantasy point performance. Going to go there, and it's going to feel a little gross, but I think Merrill Kelly is somebody we want to use tonight. Mason Barnett getting his first major league start. He is one of their top prospects, but poor pitching numbers in the PCL kind of take with a grain of salt because that is an extreme hitter's environment. But it is an extreme hitter-friendly environment in this ballpark, so I'm probably going to play the wait-and-see game with Mason Barnett, even though Texas' lineup without Seager takes a huge hit. But there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code KICKOFF2025 for 20% off for life of a VIP membership. I will put that new link in there and the new code. Definitely better to use that than Raz for the 10% off. And a link to our merch store. You can check it out. Let me know what you pick up. Check out my hoodie, etc. And as always, best of luck, everybody.